What's going on, everyone? This is DerekJ Speaks, and WrestleMania weekend has finally arrived, and that is why I am here to bring you my predictions for WrestleMania 39 this year, live from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, California, a show that is the first Triple H booked WrestleMania, for the most part, at least, if you believe the rumors and fears going around of any involvement from Vince McMahon looming over this show. But this is the first WrestleMania show that is mainly booked by Triple H and his creative vision and his team and all that. So we'll see how it unfolds. Leading into this show, the build-up so far has been very much so a mixed bag. I look at this card so far, as of this recording, what the card stands at, and you got a lot of gems in there. There's a lot of really good, solid stories, some of the best storytelling we've seen in WWE history in certain matches on this show, and then in others, some of the most lazy, dull, uninteresting build-up to matches that should get you a lot more excited heading into them. So it's been very mixed bag. Some of these matches kind of feel slapped together. You got some guys who aren't even on the card, and that's going to happen. But then you look at some guys who really aren't on the card, and it really does not make any sense. Which brings us to the first bit of predictions part here, which is covering WrestleMania SmackDown. As of this recording, it is this upcoming Friday night. They've done this the past couple of years where they put some matches on SmackDown, and this year, once again, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is relegated to the SmackDown show before WrestleMania. You got 2 nights of WrestleMania, you got 2-hour pre-shows on both nights of WrestleMania, and there is no spot for the Andre Battle Royal apparently. I guess they really are dedicated to not doing pre-show matches anymore, and they just can't fit this Battle Royal anywhere else on the show. So there you go. I'm not going to go through every single name that's in this match, but among the lot is LA Knight and Bobby Lashley. LA Knight, the man who's been coming out on TV these last few weeks, getting pretty good reactions, talking about how you can't have an LA WrestleMania without LA Knight. He is in the Battle Royal on the SmackDown the night before WrestleMania kicks off. And of course, poor Bobby Lashley. Dude's been a pretty heavily featured performer on TV all year, and then he got stuck in this nonsensical feud with Bray Wyatt, and then all the stuff with Bray Wyatt started up. He disappeared from television. Still don't have a clear idea of what's going on with him. Now there's rumors of him being at the airport, and he might be in town for WrestleMania, so he might appear on the show. Who knows? All I know is it kind of screwed over Bobby Lashley. They were starting something, and then it just stopped. Lashley disappeared from TV, and then they announced him for the Battle Royal. Sucks for him, sucks for LA Knight, but hopefully this is not the only time we will see them during WrestleMania weekend. So both Lashley and LA Knight are in the Andre Battle Royal on SmackDown, but I'm hoping and even praying that we will see them appear on one of the 2 nights of WrestleMania, because them being on that show is very much needed for the two of them. They have become two, at least in the case of LA Knight, who hasn't really been on TV for that long, he has quickly become a very popular act on the show. And like I said, Bobby Lashley, he has been presented as one of the top feature performers on the show for several years now, let alone the last year. So hopefully they find a way onto the card. But as for the official card that we do have, as of this recording, not sure the exact cards for both nights of WrestleMania. There are certain matches that we do know for a fact will take place on either nights. Of course, Cody and Roman, they're the main event of night 2, and they already announced that the United States Championship match between John Cena and Austin Theory is not only taking place on night 1, WrestleMania Saturday, but it will be the opening match on night 1 of WrestleMania Saturday. And it's also highly believed that Seth Rollins and Logan Paul will have their match on WrestleMania Saturday due to the fact that it is Logan Paul's birthday. So I'm sure that will also play into that. But let's kick things off here, and we will start off with the two tag team matches heading into WrestleMania. This, of course, being the men's and women's Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Showcase matches, aka an excuse to get these specific people onto the show. So we will start off with the women's showcase match. We have 4 teams here. The team of Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan taking on Shotzi Blackheart and Natalya, taking on the team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and newly added to the match, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. It was originally reported and believed, and it was even playing out on TV, that Chelsea Green would team up with Carmella. But as of now, we don't really have much word on the status of Carmella, but she has been sidelined and she has been replaced in this match with Sonya Deville. And this match, it could hopefully be fun. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have the highest expectations for this match. And that's unfortunate, but hopefully they go out there and have a pretty good match. When I look at the teams here, I think the one team that it makes the most sense to win would be Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. They're the most legit team in this match, I guess. So I'm going to go with the two of them. And as for the one with the men, we have the Street Profits, the Alpha Academy, the Viking Raiders, and the team of Ricochet and Braun Strowman. I'm going to go ahead and go with Ricochet and Braun Strowman to pick up the win in this match. If I had to pick a second option, it would probably be the Street Profits. I don't think the Viking Raiders have much of a shot in this one. And as far as Alpha Academy, I feel like they might get cost their victory due to some type of interference in the ongoing storyline with Maxine and the Maximum Male Models. So I'm going to go ahead and say Ricochet and Braun are going to win this match. Now, on to some of the other big matches on this show. We have a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther defending his championship against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I don't think Drew is going to get that championship here. I think it's Sheamus's time, man. Gunther has been on a monster run with that championship. He has been on the main roster for over 350 days now, and he has been undefeated the entire time. And the majority of the time he has spent as the Intercontinental Champion. I know a lot of people are pushing for him to hold on to that championship and break the Honky Tonk Man's record. I don't need that. I want to see this guy move up to bigger and better things. This guy should be a world champion or in contention for a world championship towards the end of the year, later on down the line. I don't think he needs the Intercontinental Championship with him to get to that point. So I say Sheamus gets the win here. Will he pin Gunther? It's possible. The fact that this is a triple threat match leaves it open for Sheamus to pin Drew McIntyre, but we shall see. But I'm going to go with Sheamus to get the win here. We also have a Hell in a Cell match. Edge taking on Finn Balor, and what I presume will be the Brood version of Edge will be taking on the now confirmed Demon version of Finn Balor. So for the first time since Extreme Rules 2021, when he fell on his face, Finn Balor will be donning the demon paint, which will be interesting because this will be the first time he'll do it as a heel. So we'll see if that impacts the crowd reaction at all. We'll see how the demon works as a heel gimmick. I think it can, and we'll see how this plays out. This whole Edge Judgment Day stuff started at WrestleMania last year. It was WrestleMania Night 2 last year when Edge joined up with Damian Priest, got the win over AJ Styles, and that was the beginning of the Judgment Day. So now you fast forward a year later, all the stuff that's gone down between Edge and this group, it culminates here. And since Edge and Beth Phoenix got the big win in their mixed tag match over Finn and Rhea, last month at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I'm thinking that this, especially now that the Demon is returning, this is a primetime win for Finn Balor. Edge does not need this victory. I would argue that Finn Balor is in more need of this victory, more so the Demon, because the last time we saw the Demon, again, you saw what happened. So to bring some legitimacy back to this whole gimmick that Finn Balor has, he should get the win here. And plus, Finn Balor, if he remains a top heel in the company, you could put him in positions for championship contention, depending on what other babyfaces may or may not walk out as champion of this show. We'll get into that as we go along here. We have Rey Mysterio taking on his own son, Dominic. This story has been brewing for months and months. Rey Mysterio has refused to lay a hand on his son this entire time. It only took a tremendous segment on the previous week's SmackDown where Dominic got in the face of his little sister and his own mother, telling her to shut up. And that brought Rey Mysterio back to ringside, back in Dominic's face, and slugged him right in the face to a huge ovation from the crowd. And he finally relented and accepted the challenge, so we're getting this match here. This is Rey Mysterio and his son. This is his son we're talking about here, who has come a long way. He has a ton of more charisma and personality now than he has ever had in his entire career up to this point. And you know Rey Mysterio is going to do everything in his power to put over his son and make his son look good here. Even if it's by hook or crook and by cheating and interference from the Judgment Day, I do think that Dominic will get the win over his father, and it will just cast even more heat on this guy coming out of this show, that he walked into WrestleMania and he beat his own father. So I think that is the direction we're going in here. You have Seth Rollins taking on the birthday boy, Logan Paul. This feud has been okay. Logan Paul is much better suited in the role of a heel than he ever was as a babyface, so their alignment works. And, say what you want to about Logan Paul on a personal level or anything like that. The dude has had 3 wrestling matches up to this point: last year's WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Crown Jewel. All 3 times he looked even better than the previous. So Logan Paul has been a highlight in many of the times that he's been in these matches. And I figured a great opponent for him at WrestleMania would be someone like Seth Rollins. And so that is where we lead to here. The fact that it's Logan Paul's birthday, the fact that Logan Paul has left Seth Rollins laid out cold with 2 cheap shots on TV over the last few weeks, and the fact that we just saw the report, I believe it was straight from Logan Paul himself, that his WWE contract will be up after WrestleMania. Whether or not he resigns, that's a whole different story, but as of now, his contract will be up at the end of WrestleMania. So with all those factors playing in here, I think this is tailor-made for a Seth Rollins victory, and the whole stadium will sing along proudly as Seth Rollins stomps Logan Paul's head into the mat. We have one of the few confirmed matches attached to a night of WrestleMania, that being John Cena and Austin Theory for the United States Championship in the opening match of WrestleMania Night 1 on Saturday. This feud has really revolved around that one segment that the 2 of these guys had a few weeks ago, where John Cena absolutely roasted the life out of Austin Theory on the microphone, just completely berating him and downsizing him in a way that is not unfamiliar with John Cena in many of these big matches. He's done similar things in feuds with AJ Styles, with The Miz, with Bray Wyatt, with Roman Reigns, even The Rock. And in many of these cases, not all of them, but in many of these cases, the end result was a loss for John Cena, because you can't have Cena just completely trash these guys on the microphone only to go to the pay-per-view and beat them. Now again, he's done it before. He and Nikki Bella beat The Miz and Maurice after he destroyed them on the mic. He did the same thing to AJ Styles heading into the Royal Rumble earlier that same year in 2017. He laced into him on the microphone, he went to the pay-per-view, and he beat AJ. But, to that same token, he laced into The Rock. He lost to The Rock. He embarrassed Roman Reigns on the microphone heading into No Mercy in 2017. He lost to Roman Reigns. He did the same thing with Bray Wyatt heading into their match, or whatever the hell that was, at WrestleMania in 2020. And whatever the hell that thing was, it was Bray Wyatt beating John Cena. So I think the second that segment with Austin Theory all those weeks ago ended, that immediately gave away the finish to this match. Is it possible that Cena can come away with a victory? Of course, but I think this is going to be a big win for Austin Theory, a man who I'm sure a lot of upper management looks like as their next John Cena, as a next top guy to build the company around. They are putting a lot into the Austin Theory basket, and we'll see if it pays off. A big win over John Cena at WrestleMania would do him a world of good. So we'll see how this plays out. We have a trios match with the women. Becky Lynch teaming up with Lita and Trish Stratus to take on Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Hell of a story for Io and especially Dakota heading into this show, who were not guarantees to be on the main roster, and here they are in a big high-profile WrestleMania match against one of the biggest stars in the entire women's division and two Hall of Fame legends in Lita and Trish Stratus. And it's going to be an even bigger moment for them when they beat Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. My prediction here is that Damage Control gets a much-needed victory over the babyfaces. And I do believe there may be some merit to some of the rumors that have been circulating that Trish Stratus might turn heel on Becky Lynch. Now, I don't believe Trish will turn heel and cost her team the victory. What I believe is that there will be some kind of miscommunication between Becky and Trish, and it will ultimately lead to Damage Control winning. And if any turn happens at WrestleMania, it'll be after the match. It'll be after the babyfaces have already lost. But I think that heel turn from Trish is coming, and I do believe we will set up for a Becky Lynch-Trish Stratus feud at some point later on down the line. It could be in Puerto Rico for Backlash. It could be at the next Saudi show, the King and Queen of the Ring event, or they could save it for SummerSlam. Either way, I do think we will get that match at some point down the line. Brock Lesnar taking on Omos in a match that not many people ever really asked for, and a match that no one really is all that excited for. There is a subgroup of fans who are excited to see Omos in this match. I'm not one of them. This feud just came out of nowhere. The obvious direction for WrestleMania was a final match between Brock and Bobby Lashley, which, to be honest, would not probably have been much better either because none of their matches have been all that great. But this one, it's either gonna be absolute garbage or it'll be way better than we could ever think, and it'll be very, very interesting. I think the crowd will play a role in this match. I think if the crowd plays along and they're really hot for this match, they're really into Brock Lesnar, and Omos gets some good heat, I think that could add a level of interest and excitement into the actual final product of this match. Who wins? I believe that really depends on what direction they want to go in here. I think regardless, win or loss, Brock Lesnar will be disappearing after WrestleMania. I think that is a foregone conclusion. But does Brock do the honors on his way out, or does he get the big win and he rides off into the sunset? I'm going to go with the latter. I think even if Brock Lesnar does take some time off, even if it's extended time off after WrestleMania, I do believe he will do so with a victory over Omos. And, you know, there was talk for a little while there about a Hurt Business reunion and the potential of Omos joining the Hurt Business along with MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, and Bobby Lashley. Could there still be something to that? Could that be a way for Bobby Lashley to make it onto this show? Could Bobby Lashley come out in this match, cost Brock Lesnar the victory, give Omos the win, and reunite the Hurt Business? It's possible. Brock Lesnar hasn't really won a whole lot recently, and it doesn't hurt Brock. He is still a legitimate top star, but, I think he is due for a win. As crazy as it is to hear that about Brock Lesnar, I think he is due for a win, and I do think he will get a win over Omos in this match. We have 2 women's championship matches on this show, and to be frank with you, neither match has been built up in an exciting manner. One has been built up a little bit better than the other, but they both have been very weak. But the weakest of the two is easily the feud between Asuka and Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. On paper, Asuka, Bianca Belair, they should go out there and have a very good match, if not a great match. Could be a potential show stealer. Bianca has had some really great matches at WrestleMania so far. She had a banger of a match with Becky Lynch last year. She had a great main event match with Sasha Banks the year before. Asuka, she's no slouch in there. She's had some great matches at WrestleMania. The match with Charlotte Flair all those years ago where she lost her streak, that was a great match. So these two coming together could put on a great match here. But the feud has just been so dull and lazy. This feud has consisted of Asuka drooling goo all over her face, the two of them staring at each other, and then pointing at the WrestleMania sign. That's been majority of the feud. Of course, you play up the fact that it's Asuka playing mind games with Bianca and all that. There's a way to do that is far more interesting than what they have done. You can ask me, or I can ask any of you, to come up with a much better way to portray the story of Asuka playing mind games with Bianca Belair, and I guarantee you could come up with at least 3 different stories that are far better than what we have seen with these two women play out on TV over this last month or so. As for the match itself, I do expect it to be a good match, and I do believe we may see a brand new Raw Women's Champion crowned, and her name is Asuka. And I believe that this could lead to a heel turn for Bianca Belair. I think there's a way for Bianca to turn heel even if she does win. She could win in cheating fashion, and that could be a slow burn to her heel turn. But Bianca's coming up on a full year as champion. I don't believe that reign will continue past WrestleMania. I do believe she will lose that championship to Asuka, and either will immediately or coming out of this will slowly build towards a heel turn for Bianca Belair. As for the other women's championship match, the feud has been better than the Raw women's title match, but not by much. And that is the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and the Women's Royal Rumble winner, Rhea Ripley. They've had some interactions that have left a lot to be desired, but I just hope that they do the right thing, and that is Rhea Ripley winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, Charlotte Flair has been a babyface. I say that in air quotes here. She's been the babyface heading into this feud, but it's Charlotte Flair. How many people actually look at Charlotte Flair and buy her as a babyface? In these last couple of weeks, with some of the promos that Charlotte's been cutting, has made her come off way more heelish than as a babyface because she's a natural heel. Rhea Ripley's a great heel too, but some of her promos come off as a babyface. So it'll be interesting to hear the crowd dynamic for this match. And either they'll flip it and they'll boo Charlotte and cheer Rhea, or the worst thing you could hope, neither one of them get a good reaction. Because Rhea Ripley is this evil heel leading one of the top heel factions in the company. Meanwhile, Charlotte is just beyond unlikable because it's Charlotte. So that could lead to resentment or just disinterest from the crowd for a good part of this match. I do think these women are capable of having a very good match. They have had them before. They had one at WrestleMania several years ago in an empty warehouse at the PC. Then after that, they had a couple of matches on other pay-per-views about a year or so later, and they were good too. So I do think these women are capable of having a great match here on this show. But you got to do the right thing, and that's Rhea Ripley walking out with the win. And I know the Royal Rumble winner, you have 2 Rumbles and you have 2 nights of WrestleMania. It makes sense for the winner of the Royal Rumble, both Royal Rumbles, should main event each night of WrestleMania. In theory, that does make sense. But as you saw last year, sometimes there's a bigger attraction that should go on last. In the case this year, there is a bigger and better story that should go on last. In the case this year, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley, they may very well get that main event slot on night 1, but I cast my vote to a different match that should main event night 1 and close out night 1 of WrestleMania, and that is the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. This story has been built up so beautifully over the last several months. And to see where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were just a year ago, Kevin Owens fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin in the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 in Austin's first match in several years. Sami Zayn the next night having an unbelievable spectacle of a match with Johnny Knoxville of all people. You fast forward a year later, these 2 men are involved in one of the best storylines that WWE has ever produced that is still ongoing. Even if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win here or the Usos win, whatever happens here, that is not the end of the overarching story of the entire bloodline. But I believe after all these years of the bloodline dominating these WrestleMania shows and closing out the show with all the bloodline members standing tall, I think it is time for a new wrinkle in the story to be added. I believe WrestleMania 39 should revolve around the story of the beginning of the end of the bloodline. And I believe it should start here with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn beating the Usos and winning the Undisputed Tag Team titles. The Usos are the longest reigning champions in the history of the company. There's no other team left for them to face. They have beaten everyone. So I have to go with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn here. And that will cast doubt on the main event, which is Royal Rumble winner Cody Rhodes challenging Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This was tough. Roman Reigns is the top guy in the company. He is on a monster run. He is on levels ahead of so many other people within this same company. It is hard to justify taking the championship away from him. As of now, he's about a month and a half away from cracking 1,000 days as champion, as Universal Champion, but champion nonetheless. Whereas you have Cody Rhodes, who made his triumphant return to WWE last year at WrestleMania, got a huge ovation. And coming out of that, he had 3 straight excellent matches with Seth Rollins. He was positioned as one of the top performing acts on the Raw brand, and even going down to that gruesome pec injury at Hell in a Cell, he went out on his shield, on his sword, and still put on a great legendary match. He returned at the Royal Rumble, he won the Rumble, and every week this guy comes out to some of the biggest reactions you'll hear. He cuts these valiant, babyface, true-hearted promos that get huge reactions. They do the whoa part of his theme song. He's hitting main event level numbers with his merchandise, apparently. All signs point in a good direction for Cody Rhodes. But what is the idea? There's reports that once Roman Reigns loses his championship, he's going to take a very long break. He will take a very long, extended leave of absence from WWE. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll lose the championship at WrestleMania. It just means that once he does eventually lose the championship, he'll take a long break, which is understandable. This is all about predictions, which also factor in personal opinions, personal taste, personal preference. So this is coming from me, DerekJ Speaks. I have watched these last couple of years of WrestleManias end the same way, and that is Roman Reigns walking out as champion. 37, he walked out after stacking up Daniel Bryan and Edge, retained his championship. Last year, beat Brock Lesnar, walked out with 2 belts. And this whole time, he's come up against some legitimate, credible stars, but that whole question has remained like, who is the guy to beat Roman? It can't just be for a moment, for the pop, for a little isolated experience. That's why it was not the right time to give it to Sami Zayn. That's why it's not the right decision to have Jey Uso beat Roman Reigns, because neither one of them are going to be positioned as the guy to build the company around going forward after the Roman Reigns feud is over. Whereas someone like Cody Rhodes is that guy. He is showing proof that he can be that guy. And I say you run with him as your guy. I love Roman. I love this run. He is very entertaining to watch. I love the story that's been playing out with him and the bloodline. But I gotta be honest with you, man. I cannot stomach another WrestleMania ending with Roman Reigns walking out as champion. I can't do it. Him being so close to 1,000 days as champion, I don't care. He is already one of the longest reigning champions in the history of the company. He will never break Bob Backlund's record or Hulk Hogan's record or Bruno Sammartino's record, but he is close enough. He has far and away surpassed several other great champions. But it's time for it to come to an end. And I believe we've been looking and hoping to see who can be the man to beat Roman Reigns. I believe that man is Cody Rhodes. And I believe there is a chance Roman Reigns can retain. And I'm not going to lie to you, it will be a little disappointing and a bit of a flat finish. And that doesn't mean Cody Rhodes can't beat him later on. It might just be a few months down the road and Cody Rhodes will win there. But I think the moment is now. Cody Rhodes has remained undefeated. He just handed Solo Sikoa his first singles loss on Raw this past week. Cody Rhodes has a shit ton of momentum heading into this show. And if you're looking for a guy to step in there and to start building this company around right now, especially if Roman Reigns does go away for a while, who is a top credible name to beat Roman Reigns, I think you have it right there in Cody Rhodes. So I'm going to go with Cody Rhodes to end WrestleMania as the undisputed champion. Will he get his Winged Eagle belt? That remains to be seen. But I do think Cody Rhodes will get the win. And that's it. We'll see how wrong I am this upcoming weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed these predictions. Sound off in the comments below. What do you think is going to happen at WrestleMania this weekend? Am I hitting all the right marks? Am I completely off base? Let me know how you feel in the comments below. Follow me on Twitter at DerekJ Speaks this whole weekend, as I'll be giving you guys updates on my recording schedule, and I'll be following along with a lot of these big shows. We have SmackDown this upcoming Friday. We have ROH Supercard of Honor. Of course, there's the NXT show. You have both nights of WrestleMania and then the Raw after WrestleMania. I'm not going to be covering all these shows, but as of this moment, the plan is to do a double review for Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor, and the final SmackDown before WrestleMania. I'll do a double review, and any updates to my WrestleMania predictions, I'll give it there. So I'll be doing that. I will be covering night 1 of WrestleMania on Saturday nights. Should upload Sunday morning. And then I will cover night 2 of WrestleMania, which should upload Monday morning. And then on Monday night, we have the Raw after WrestleMania. It'll be interesting to see how this year goes in comparison to past years, which have been pretty lackluster. But I will be covering that show too, and that will be going up early Tuesday morning. And after that, I will happily fade back into the background until I am ready to reemerge for more coverage of this crazy pro wrestling world. But to all other content creators out there who are going to be hitting the ground running with all these different shows, I salute you, wish you the best of luck, hope I can do my best to cover all this stuff, and I hope all of you have a great time enjoying all these shows this weekend, and I hope we can enjoy this Triple H booked WrestleMania, because by the looks of things, it will probably be the one and only time we will have a Triple H booked WrestleMania. See you guys later.